Yes, you gorgeous little Shelley, yeah, hey? Yeah, you can tell who your mum was as well. Yeah, your mum would have been Smushmouth. Yeah, you got a wonky gob just like she had. Should we start this here stream thing, shall we? Yeah, is that what you're telling me? Mm, yeah, blue eye. Yeah. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Ah, hello, 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 hello. Welcome, greeting. I'm blurry. Oh well. Stars with me to go on, and I'm also half lit because it's actually daylight still. Yay! Um, yes, the clocks have changed. That's why the camera's struggling. This because it's light one side, dark the other, and yeah. Anyway, welcome. If you're new here, hello, welcome aboard. If you've been here before, you know what to expect. Weirdness, randomness, some fishy stuff, some bikey stuff, some ghosty stuff, probably music and food at some point. Pardon me, burping, drinking an energy drink, smoking of roll-ups, the usual. Just some general Sunday night chillage and enjoyment. Hopefully nothing too heavy-handed or heavy. Um, did have some heavy news this week, but we shall avoid that because reasons. So yeah, at the moment the only people I'm speaking to are anyone who might be watching on replay because ain't nobody here, just me and the fish. Oh, Bert. Wrong round. There we go. That's Bert. Um, yeah, so it's kind of always hard to start these things off, especially if there's nobody to talk to. It's working on the assumption that people are going to turn up. I don't necessarily want to run through the same stuff time and time again. Bonsoir, Red Laser. How the devil are you? Lurk away or chat away, whichever you prefer. Um, yeah, although I've not really had that interesting of a week. Uh, water changes, work. On my other day off, it was piddling down the rain and blowing a howler, so I didn't go for a bike ride. Um, so hopefully the weather's more clement this week and I can make up for it. Because as of today, there is a month before I do the Peddars Way and back. Usual suspects will be here soon. Yes, no doubt the usual bunch of reprobates and weirdos. Um, I say that with love because we all get nerdy about keeping fish in glass boxes, so yeah, we're weird. To the majority, probably 99% of people who have fish tanks, it's something that sits in the corner of a room that you feed when you remember. And then once or twice a year, you might give it a good clean out and maybe change some of the water. And then replace the fish that have died with other pretty fishies. Those of us who are a bit more nerdy about it and have like multiple tank syndrome even, yes, we get very deep into the minutiae of the chemistry and the biology and the parameters and yeah, all sorts of actually pretty sad stuff. But once you get your head around it, it's actually pretty simple to understand. It's not that complicated. Just some people like to make out it is more complicated than it actually is. Ooh. Suffice to say, if you buy fish that are suitable for your water and you keep up the maintenance on the tank, which isn't make sure the glass is clean on the outside or even on the inside, because that's not a problem. Um, all that affects is your ability to see what's going on in there. Yeah, clean your filters, do your water changes, depending on your tank and how the nitrate levels, etc., work out, whether that be weekly, fortnightly, monthly, and you'll have a long and illustrious career as a fish keeper. It's not really that complicated. There's a lot of information and a lot of videos that make it seem complicated, but at its basic levels. How I've been working on Saturdays, missing here, fishy careers, multiple choice now, time based. Yes, I generally work most Saturdays now, which is a bit of a shame. Although to be fair, I think I only caught like maybe half a dozen last year, and I still won overall, so not too worried. Someone else can win this year. I'm not greedy. There's only so many days of the year that I can actually wear a fleece. Howdy, Linkbot. Yeah, that's when you work retail, working weekends is kind of part of the job, and as I don't do Sundays, I have to accept that I end up doing most Saturdays instead, which fair enough. If I work a Sunday, I'll have to work a Saturday. Now I accept that. Well, we'll let Graham and Jiggler do their thing. Or I might, obviously, if I get the opportunity, I'll turn up and join in, and then, we'll see what happens. Yeah, I did get banned from doing the pub quiz in the local pub that I used to go to. Hello, Debs. How are you, me darling? I got banned from doing the team pub quiz because I used to enter on my own and win it. Didn't go down well with the teachers. Fortunately, they were teachers from a different school to the one I attended, so they didn't know me. It'd probably been worse if it had been teachers from the school I'd attended, the ones that were always going on at me about not paying attention. Okay, we got rid of the bank openings on Sunday. Nice to see the wife on the weekend. There you go. Banks haven't opened on Sundays here for ever. I don't ever remember a bank being open on a Sunday. Manda Panda, how are you, me darling? Hope for Deb. Hope for Amanda. I'll go on. Hope for Laser as well. On actual fish fang. Oh, thank you very much, Lee. Oh, such a big hug. Thank you. It has been announced on FaceAche, so I think I'm allowed to say it now, but congratulations to Scott and Paige, aka Alien World and the Giggler, on their engagement. About time Scott made an honest woman of her, really. Or about time Paige made an honest man out of Scott. It's one or the other. May they be forever happy with each other and have a wonderful marriage and life. And I know that sounded sarcastic, but it wasn't meant to be. So if Mr. Alien World Airsoft or Aquatics or whichever he's going under at the moment, if he happens to pop into the chat, everyone congratulate him. Yes, we all miss Paige. She's lovely. Absolutely lovely. Giggling away like a good one. Bless her. She giggles like a 5-year-old. It's hilarious. I think what might happen is I think Scott might put whichever stream on either the TV or a computer or something, and they both watch. But it's under Scott's account, so he just does the typing. She does usually seem to be around when he joins here anyway. Paige is another person I'd give a great big hug if I met, and Scott, to be honest. Yeah, she's a little cutie, isn't she? Yes, this is the problem with getting old. As I don't think maybe Debs might understand. Yeah, people look younger. The older you get, the younger everyone else looks. When ID checked a 32-year-old woman this week because I didn't think she was over 18. Yeah, you do. I mean, especially like I do, work in retail, where you have to age check people to buy certain products. Quite a lot of what we sell, being a hardware store. Um, yeah, it's tricky. You just think, yeah, they've got to be 18. Even though the thing is, think 25. If they don't look 25, then you've got to ID check them. But let's be honest. It's just going to be, yeah, you look quite young. Yeah, it was a 32-year-old woman I ID checked with some utility knife or craft knife blades. Or Stanley knife blades if you use the bit like when everyone calls it a Hoover, it's actually a vacuum cleaner because Hoover make Hoovers. Stanley makes Stanley knives. Everyone else makes utility knife. It's exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same blades, but yeah, the name sticks. A bit like how in war films, if the filmmakers stick a German Balkenkreuz, the white and black cross thing, on a tank and have the crew have a German accent, everyone thinks it's a Tiger tank. Chances are it's probably a T-34. Drove past saw a bunch of what looked like sixth graders, which I'm guessing means sixth year, which, yeah, playing football the other day and realised it was a high school varsity team. They're all adults. So the lusting was legal then. You were allowed to sit there and ogle them. Looked about 12. This is the problem, and then it's also the opposite way around. It's like when you get really, especially girls, notice it more with girls. They look a lot older than they are, up until they're obviously like teenagers. We'll go with, when they're going out and drinking and stuffs, because we can drink at 18 legally. Devin and I thought they were babies. Well, there are P words of both genders. I hate to say it, but there are. Well, quite how that would work from a female perspective, I don't know. Um, Good evening, Donna. How are you, my dear? Mwah. Big hug and a smooch, because why not? Sure, Andrew won't get too jealous. Uh, unless that is just Andrew on the wrong account, and then he can have a hug and a kiss anyway. Judging people's ages is getting harder the older you get, is basically the end result of that whole waffle. It's getting rather tricky. And then there will be someone who's like, you think they've been around for a while, say on YouTube, and they got quite a big channel and done this, that, and the other. Then you find out they're like 22, and you're like, oh, right, yeah. So you've done more in like 4 years since leaving college than I've done in like 30. Use the W word. What is the W word? I know what the W word I'm not allowed to say is, but you're allowed to type it in chat because I don't have any restrictions turned on. Try not to take too much advantage of that. Oh, Willy. Oh, we're allowed to say Willy. The Jet Set Willy, as in the computer game, or Free Willy, as in the Hollywood blockbuster or the adult movie. There are two different versions of that. Don't get them confused. But yeah, I mean, to be fair, I've probably said far worse in videos than that. Yeah. Maybe not, actually. I'm usually pretty good at watching my language in videos and live streams. A lot more funny when an 88-year-old woman says it. True. Anything's funny out of an old woman's mouth, usually, unless they're Karening. All the actions. Oh dear. Was she demonstrating what to do with said Willy? Or measuring size or something? I don't know. I'm going to have to watch. I'm going to have to start doing some shorts of my own again. I keep forgetting about that. I don't know. Willy Wonka would be happy. As long as you don't misspell that with 2 A's instead of only one. The word rhyme with banker. Having a quick jodrol bank. Chucking one off the knuckle. This was no, I'm not. That's too disgusting. Massaging the man fat. That's grim. At least it weren't moist man fat. Excellent gobble gobble. Oh. Oh, so she was talking about Bernard Matthews then. If you're unaware, which most of you are, Bernard Matthews is a food company which specializes in turkey products like turkey roll and turkey Twizzlers and turkey-shaped dinosaur-shaped turkey mush, all that kind of stuff. Famous for the saying, "It's beautiful, Bernard," and obviously also being from Norfolk and owning half the Waveney Valley and refusing to let anyone fish it. Rest in peace, Bernard. as much as he came across as a nice old grandfatherly type person in the adverts, apparently he was an absolute willy. We have some excellent slang that we do. We usually have ways around saying anything to get the point across without swearing. It's like if an Aussie calls you a C word, it means they're your friend. If they call you mate, you know you're in trouble. Yeah, we got it's a different sense of humour over here to the other side of the pond. You know, generally, if it's a workplace and there's like a leaving do for a man who's been there a while, it won't be sad to see you go. Oh, so you will be missed. It'll be like, you're leaving. About bloody time. Yeah, it's generally rather dark and deprecating. Ooh, YouTube asked Laser to review one of Deb's video comments. I've had that come up before, but not from Deb. I've had it when I've done videos and I've got some nasty comments on them. I refer everyone back to that video I did on narcissism in modelling many years ago, which did make me laugh when people were threatening me. I even got a death threat over that video. But yeah, wait it out yourself. So yeah, basically what happened with that video was everyone who sent me the snarky comments and the nasty, well, specifically the nasty and threatening comments, their names were put into a group chat that a bunch of modeling creators and Facebook page owners were in, and they got kicked out of them all. Yeah, I can't imagine Deb swearing or putting something inappropriate in a comment, not on purpose anyway. Possibly putting something in there that could be taken another way without realizing it. Or accidentally using certain words that trigger algorithms and bots. I got a 24, 48 hour, whatever it was. I got a Facebook ban going back a few years now. But for a friend of mine who I've known for donkey's years, and if Facebook actually paid attention to what was going on, they'd realised that we rib each other constantly because we're friends. And we rip the mickey out of each other all the time. It's all a laugh. It's all good. It's all gravy. And he got I still swear at it to this day, he managed to get hold of was it a bust or a full figure? I think it was a full figure of Christina Hendricks as Jessica Rabbit, which, let's be honest, is kind of one of my dream figures. Yeah, that would be interesting to paint. Shady grey, yes, that's probably what it was. But yeah, so basically I said to him, like, awesome, you know, you better do a good job of that one, or I'm going to have to come there and beat your ass. And I got a ban off Facebook for threatening behaviour. The comment had a laugh emoji left by him, right? There was obviously no one complained. There wasn't anything like that. Facebook just decided, Oh, you're being threatening and aggressive. Yeah, really? You want me to be threatening and aggressive? I'll show you. You'll have to unban me first, but you know. Exactly. I could probably put a review up absolutely slating some new Wonder product. And Debs would leave a comment on it praising me or something. You know, but Debs doesn't do negativity. What about those Americans use the word fanny meaning rear end? We're talking about smacking each other on the fanny. No, we're exposed to enough American TV movies and what have you where we're used to the concept of a fanny meaning rear bottom, not a front bottom. Um, the term fanny pack does still cause giggles though. What about Americans? Do you get confused when we start talking about fannies and we mean the opposite? When Brits say fanny, we mean the leisure centre. When Americans say fanny, they mean the sewage works. I don't like someone that don't live in. Exactly. Because you're nice, Debs. That's why we love you. Yeah. You accept, oh, I didn't enjoy this, or I didn't like this person's style, or whatever they had to say. I just won't say anything. It's quite simple. Yeah, I'm a troll, so I don't do it under my main account. I'm not that stupid. I do it under one of my troll accounts. And if I start suspecting people might think that troll account is me, then I switch to the other one for a while. And the troll accounts that are on different devices that aren't actually registered to anyone anywhere. Like an old phone that no longer has a SIM card or anything in it and got reset to factory. Things like that. That's my way of doing it. But yeah, Debs isn't going to do anything nasty. She's not got a mean bone in her body. I'm not like me. My entire skeleton's mean. It's fairly damaged as well. So take of that what you will. Yeah, so I've had all sorts of weird and wonderful comments. The ones that get me are on a video that's been up for like 6 or 7 years, and the person asks you a question, legitimately asking a question about the video, and I'm like, let's say it was a modelling kit, or a modelling video from like 6-7 years ago. And I'll be asking me a question about the fit of the kit or how I got around this particular issue. I can't remember. I might not have even realised there was an issue and just put it together in the way I put model kits together. And I'm doing hand signals like an Italian, and you can't see. It's all right, they're not rude. Or telling me I've done something wrong on a video, or on a model that I made, again, several years ago. This is the wrong shade of whatever colour. Let's be honest, it's usually German yellow. Dunkelgelb. This tank should have been in Dunkelgelb 7401, not 7403. I don't care. Prove it. And don't come at me with some random paint chip or a colorized black and white photo. Come at me with a picture of the actual tank that I've built. Oh, what's that? You can't because they were all destroyed in World War II? Yeah, exactly. Bugger off. Yes. Yes. Being pissed meaning being drunk. Yeah, that's when because we abbreviate so many things, but we don't abbreviate being peed off to just being peed. Um, yeah, being peed off is to be angry. Being peed is to be inebriated. Wonderful language, British English, anyway. Pardon me. It's apparently one of the things that Americans do struggle with if they move to the UK is our use of the same language. Um, so like they move to like Europe, we're sloshed, hammered. Oh, and there's another one. Can I get away with it? Yeah, we're long enough into the video. Wankered. That's another good one. Oh man, I was absolutely wankered. Yeah, it basically means you can't remember what you did the night before. Um, one of those ones where you've woken up under a park bench somewhere and you don't even schnockered. Yeah, schnockered. I can see that one. Although if you added an extra O, that would mean something completely different. Snookered. If you're not familiar with the game snooker. Is snooker a sport? I mean, you kind of have to be sort of fit, but it's like pool, but on a much bigger table with a lot more balls and a lot more rules and much smaller pockets. Um, Sounds dirty. Yeah, I got one truly schnockered behind the locker rooms last night. Yeah. um, Having a good schnocker in. And given what knockers are in English, uh, getting a good schnocker in does sound fun. But yeah, so it's expats, as it were. They say if they move to Europe, where most people do speak English, aside from some slight accent issues, they can communicate fairly easily. It's not a problem. But then they come to England and we speak basically a completely different language half the time. Uh, yeah. Mufti! Oh, just got back from a fish swap. Acclimating some endlers. Friend gave me and bought a couple of Spong filters and a new light. Ooh. Endlerinos. Always pretty. I have been tempted, but I don't really want to have to be selling another. I say that another type of live bearer, just as I bought another type of live bearer, but you know. Amicus splendens don't tend to reproduce at such an alarming rate as endlers. You know, basically being a flavour of guppy. Cilia. Oh, which one is it? Cilia reticulata, I think, is the common guppy, and all the various random inbred forms of it. Is it Basilia wingii? Something like that? The endler? I can't remember. Um, yeah, so I always think they would make awesome dither fish. But then there's that bit of me that goes, no, you have to have more females than males. And then I'm like, oh God, I'm going to end up with thousands of them again. Oh, I don't want thousands of guppies again. Don't want to have to buy another bite just to eat them all. Um, uh, or a snakehead. That one has crossed my mind more than once. They are very cool fish and very, very pretty. J Rock, he's doing stuff. Really upset. Went to film a train, the wind blew over my camera and broke it. No funds for replacement. Oh no. Really peed off. Oh, that sucks. So it's windy here as well, but yeah, that definitely sucks. And thankfully, touch wood. Actually, touch something that is wood, door frame. I've not managed to break a camera or anything yet. He says, yeah. What sort of camera are you using? Because the one I use, the Canon HDR Legria, they're not that expensive now. They're still the same camera. They're still making it because it's a bloody good camera. I think they're 250 quid at the moment, or generally. Probably be able to pick one up cheaper than that. Sony SV10, so yeah, proper camera. Yeah, I mean, for things like what you're filming, I wouldn't have suggested a GoPro or action cam. Although some of them are actually pretty damn good these days. There's a relatively new one on the market that's been getting rave reviews. Um, can't remember what it's called. Yeah, anything's better than a phone camera. I know. Most people do use the camera in their phone, and it can produce some really nice footage, which is great if you're filming stuff relatively close up. But if you're filming stuff that's either big or a long way away, phone cameras suck. They don't have a zoom on them. Camera's like my left hand, so I'm pretty upset. Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm entirely understandable. And a lot of the times these days, getting something like that fixed costs almost as much or more than a new one. Nut and cur, how the devil art thou, sir? So yeah, time to start counting pennies and seeing what you can work out. You might be able to find a pre-owned or second-hand Sony for a decent price. Costly and no funds. Yeah, cooked for a while. Yes, I mean I know we're in April, but you know, it's not that far after Christmas and all the expense of that, and then Easter and all the other stuff, and just general life expenses with the way the world is at the moment. Certainly the Western world. Yeah, life hates. No, life don't hate you. Life is just trying you. It's pushing you. Just seeing what you can take. But you're a nice guy, and you do nice stuff, and you're not a butthole. So karma will be on your side. Hopefully. Um, yeah. I can say don't get too down about it. These things happen, but I know what the brain does. And even if the logical brain knows this, then the inner bit that you got no control over does what it wants to do, and that is usually attacking itself. Oh, yeah, yes, exactly. Oh, exactly. Yeah, just a setback. You'll get back to it soon, Jay. Yes, you'll be doing stuff again soon. Yeah, I know where you're coming from. I've dealt with many of my own demons in the past. Um, I jokingly say, and have done for quite a while, that these days I don't suffer with depression. Depression suffers with me. Um, because and it sounds bad. I've got so used to being depressed and depression that I can pretty much just get myself out of it now. So I go, right, yeah, I'm depressed. Okay, this is my brain doing silly things to me. Um, we'll just keep pushing and fighting, and we'll get through it. But yeah, exactly. It does suck. And the people who've not had any kind of mental issues like that, PTSD, ADHD, and depression. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. I mean, I'm not got. I don't think I've got PTSD. Um, Squirrel. No, I haven't got ADHD either. So, and the thing is, no one can tell you how to cope with these things or how to get over it. Because it's not like you've sprained your ankle. Rice it, rest, ice compression, elevation. The human brain doesn't work like that. Everyone's brain works slightly differently or completely differently in some cases, like mine. And so there's no like you take a pill and the infection goes away, or like you rest, ice compress, and elevate your ankle and the sprain goes away. You can't do that with a brain illness. Um, it's as horrible as it might sound. The best way to figure out how to deal with the demons like that is to get through it yourself. Therapists can help. They can suggest things that work for most people, but they cost money. And if you're depressed because you got no money, a therapist ain't going to be much help. There we go. Yeah. Turn it into a positive. What can I make that I can sell or do that I can sell to get money together to make it, say, for a new camera? There you go. Put a positive spin on it. That usually works for me. Ways out from braining. That's like, exactly. But it's something you've now got in your noggin that will slowly rotate and whirl around, and cogs will engage, and that will at least give a part of your brain that to think about, which will take it off of the negatives. Again, that's one thing that I find. Yeah, the fish help. Going on longer bike rides, that helps because it gives my brain something else to occupy it. Um, it's like that when I go to sleep, I've always got something on a YouTube on a device of some description wherever I am, whether it's on a TV or my tablet or my phone or whatever. If I'm going to go to sleep, there's going to be something playing purely because that gives something to occupy my brain, so my brain don't start freewheeling out of control, and then I can't get to sleep. Posted videos almost every day for the past year and 3 months. Wow. Dang. You got a more creative brain than me then. I've gone through several subjects on the channel. You just run out of ideas after a while. You'll figure something out, and perhaps until you can get a new camera, maybe you can use your phone. Or maybe there's someone you know who can lend you a camera. Oh, love you too, Yella. How you doing, gorgeous? Yeah. Ask about friends and family. Chances are someone might have a camera sitting around that they don't use anymore. Although if they offer you one that like takes discs or tapes, be polite. But yeah. So I remember when I was yeah, it just take a while. These things do happen. I remember when I was first starting out, and I was like, oh, yeah, I need to get a camera, you know, a proper video camera, because I'm not using a really cheap and nasty digital camera, we'll call it that. It barely was. Or a tablet that's got like a 3 megapixel camera in it. And someone, oh, I've got an old camera you can use. I've got an old video camera you can use. It was someone I worked with at the time. And it was really hard to be nice and say, sorry, that's not really what I'm looking for. When they brought it in and it took the mini VHS tapes, I'm like, yeah, that's not really going to work for YouTube. Kind of needs to be digital. Yeah. 20 months, soon be 2 years. Yeah, wow. Good. What are you apologising for? Oh dear. You can call me Sharpe, Wookie, whatever you like. I don't mind. If it's something negatory, I'll know you just taking the mick. And no, that is not a racial slur against Irish people, as some people have suggested. Bun bun! Mwah. How are you, me darling? Oh, my darling, oh, my darling, oh, my darling Clementine. Sorry, don't know where that came from. And those are the only words I know to that song, so you're safe. And I'm not going to go and get my harmonica out and play it. And I put the guitar upstairs as well, so I can't even pick that up and strum it. You're safe. Oh yeah, always extra loves for Bun Bun. Actually, I think if I got a bunny and she was female, I might call her Ivy. There are no plans, so don't get excited. there would have to be some pretty big changes going around here if I got a rabbit. First of all, being hiding all the spicy hay, or as we call it, electrical cables. Yes, rabbits do like to eat the spicy hay. Generally, if you see a rabbit with black teeth, that's what's happened. It's nibbled through a mains cable. When you figure out the reason why they do it, it's understandable. It's because when they're in burrows, they get roots that grow across the burrow, so they get rid of it. Well, if they're like sneaking down the back of the sofa or under the coffee table or something, and there's a cable in the way, in their little lizard brain, they think that's a root, so they just chew it out of the way. Unfortunately, it's usually an expensive charge for something, or something you can't get a replacement lead for. No, just typical pet owning stuff, because that's what bunnies do. They're cute, they're angy, they loaf, and they chew stuff. They can be surprisingly destructive when they want to be. They're usually not too bad. Latte is quite good, for example. She doesn't tend to chew on things she's not supposed to. But that's because she doesn't get bored. Because Mary has her out every day, once or twice, for a couple of hours for some snuggles and some playing, some zoomies and treats and all the good stuff. And sitting on the kitchen windowsill watching the world go by. So she doesn't tend to get bored and start chewing on things just for something to do. And even if she did, she's so damn cute, you can't stay mad at her. And no repeat of her belly troubles from last week either. That was a one-off. She had a bit of trap wind, needed a belly rub, and then she did her impression of a machine gun. Belly rub. Pop, 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 pop. Oh, jeez. Big old pile of poop. Is easy enough to clear up with a rabbit because they're dry and hard and they don't smell and they're not nasty. You just pick them up and chuck them out the back door onto the garden, where they work as fertilizer. Simple. Yeah, it's not like they're a dog or a cat. It's nasty or human. I'm not sure which is worse. It depends how big the dog is, I suppose. You've got one of those monstrous dog breeds. I think I'd rather clear up human. Be smaller. Well, generally around here, the worst one is horses. Because people love to ride their horses down country lanes. And you go cycling down said country lane, and there's big piles of horse manure everywhere. Well, did Bunny get a handyman to install the TV on the wall yet? Ooh. I've seen those videos where the handyman comes in to install the TV, or the plumber comes in to fix the washing machine. Either be careful or go for it, Bun Bun. Just don't get your head stuck in the dryer. Oh, sorry. Can't resist these things. How did that become a genre of adult video? I have no idea. Life lessons from Sharpe. Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily take my life lessons too seriously. I mean, they've worked out okay for me so far. I mean, I'm still alive. I'm not in jail, so I can't be doing too badly. I mean, I'm not like rich and driving a Lamborghini and switching girlfriends when they get past the age of 25. That just sounds like too much hard work. Um, I'd much rather just have a nap and watch the world go by, or get on the bike and just go for a ride to nowhere in particular. Well, as long as if it's a long enough ride, somewhere in particular, because it would be somewhere that sells food. Generally, meal deals, which has occurred to me. I've been mentioning meal deals quite regularly, and that not everywhere gets them. So a meal deal is you go into either a supermarket or a convenience store, garage or whatever, and garage, sorry, and you'll get like a pack of sandwiches, a snack type thing, which you either like a pork pie, a sausage roll, a packet of crisps, chocolate bar, and then a drink for a set price. Um, Used to be £3, and they're now between £3.50 and £4. Um, but it's a good snacko to have on a bike ride, because you can have the sandwiches, which will give you carbohydrate and protein, because obviously you go for the bacon and egg, or sausage, bacon and egg. Um, then your snacko, you can either choose to have like a chocolate bar for instant sugar rush, or something else for a longer release, and then you just grab a big can of Red Bull. Because the art of the meal deal is to see just how much money you can save. So, for example, if the meal deal, as they used to be £3, £3, I think the best I managed was £7.80 would be the cost of what I would have bought. Yeah, so I saved £4.80 on the meal deal. So yes, that would have cost the shop money, because there wouldn't be that much profit in any of the things I was buying. But then when I worked in One Stop, which sells meal deals, there would be people who would come in and buy like cheese sandwich, a banana, and a small bottle of water, which actually comes to less than the cost of the meal deal, and they'd still pay the meal deal price for it. But you do realize if you bought like the sandwiches and then you bought the other stuff separately, you don't have to queue up again. I'll put one through at £2, and one through at 180, and then the other lot through at 110 or something, whatever it came up to. You'll save money. No. The giant one is hung in the living room. I'm going to stand in my room after a bunch of aquariums and moved around, working on that bit by bit. There we go. Yeah, moving aquariums isn't as easy as people make out, is it? I mean, even if you drain them down as low as you can, they're still bloody heavy. Or you have to take out all the water, all the substrate, all the fish, everything else, so you can actually move the damn tank. I'm not, that thing behind me, that is staying there because I can't lift the, well, I probably could, but I don't want to just try and lift that tank. Not on my own anyway. It took two of us to put it in, so. Oh, no, it's only 200 litre, only a 50 gallon or whatever. Bloody thick glass on that one. And you can see by the point the right direction, you can see how thick that glass is. Yeah, then you have Wi-Fi in your bedroom, which means Bunny's going to be watching videos in bed. Ooh, that'd be nice. Knowing that Bun's watching me in bed. No, don't have rude thoughts in the middle of a live stream, Sharpe. Not more than usual, anyway. Ricky, how you doing? Hope all is well with thou. Good. Normally, if someone says to me, "I'm well," I say, "Well, what?" Inebriated. Well peed off. That's well bored. There's the other answers. Again, more how the English language is wonderful and strange. Like the now traditional English greeting of when you see someone in the street, and it doesn't need to be someone you know. Right. That's a full conversation. You don't need any more than that. At most, it might be right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Job done. That's it. Conversation had. Move on with day. New moon tomorrow. Oh dear. Didn't Duran Duran sing something about a new moon on Monday? Debs is going, oh my God. You got a Duran Duran one in there. And no, I'm not going to start singing like Simon Le Bon. I'm well means no immediate issues, just long-term issues. Best is a new moon on a Saturday. I just try not to moon anywhere. It's usually safer. Ain't nobody wants to see this moon. New moon in Aries. Does that mean someone's going to get headbutted by an ovary? Sorry, it's just that the horological, I think is the correct term, symbol for Aries reminds me of the female reproductive system. Oh, getting the light hooked up and new spong filters in the tanks. Hey, don't apologise. You got new stuffs to play with. Play with new stuffs. That's what it's there for. You've got new stuffs to play with and new fishies to watch. So, you know, I ain't going to blame you. I got a new air pump. I just haven't got around to filming a video on it yet. Still silent, by the way. The one you can hear is the Eheim that's in the cabinet behind me, if you can hear it. Or it might be one of the Fluval U ones is a bit clagged up at the moment. It's water change day tomorrow, so all the filters will get cleaned out. Well, that reminds me of I have a bit of an adjustment in the 64-litre tank because Doug has decided to do Doug things and has managed to pile sander all the way around the intake for the filter. So chances are that's a canister that's full of sand now. Oh well. Oh, pardon me. Oh, brookies. If you're not familiar, a brookie is a confection that is like a cookie base with brownie on top. Ooh, yes, please. Um, that's what me and Mary had for a cakey snack this afternoon. We had a tub of brookies from Lidl. Took the clips on Monday, last about 3 minutes, 20 seconds. Kids off school, so parents can be responsible for their own children. Yes. Well, parents should be responsible for their own children at all times anyway. Well, when they're out of school, but they should be responsible for their actions while they're in school by proper parenting. Thing I learned is something like a Shalon, however that's pronounced. Sending things anywhere, but this is send down, bring it back. If I'm asked, it's technically I can send controlled goods anywhere and it will bring it back if not paid. Sweet. Oh, Mal's having a rapture. I was going to say is it about that new filter, but I think that video I watched was several months old about the Aquamanta canister. It just randomly turned up on my feed while I was watching YouTube on the Xbox. So I did leave a thumbs up, but you can't leave a comment on there, I'm afraid. And by the time I remembered to leave a comment, it was like now. But anyway, and in the now traditional Delulu. I am a hole. Uses practices at a different level. Yes. Well, we all do things at a level that we want to use things at. I mean, like me with computers, I use them at the level that I need to use them at. I don't try and use them any higher level. I probably could, I just can't be bothered to learn it. Better things to do. No. Yeah, I watched, I had a good chuckle. I didn't need the subtitles either. You may be Geordie, but I can understand you. Oh, let me just, no, not flashing my crotch, turn the kitchen light on. There we go. Getting a bit dark. The old sun is soon to go down. Hey, maybe a week or so and I won't have to have lights on my bike coming home from work. Yay. It's 6% watch me with subtitles. Oh, don't worry, there's plenty watch me with subtitles as well. And I mean, there are some people I watch with subtitles purely because whatever bot YouTube uses to translate isn't very good at certain accents, like Scottish accents. I've no idea what it's like with mine because it probably just gets befuddled and confused over half the things I say. Heck, I do. Random unintelligible waffle, loud burp, clicking sound of cigarette lighter. Oh. At least we haven't got Alpha Kenny 1 in the chat. Bootscat, how you doing? Good to see you. And that is just how my mind works. Yes, Rachel. Inaudible Mal. Yes. We're back to the Mal jokes. Yeah, it's just the way my filthy mind works. I see boots cats, and read boot scats. Just the way my brain processes information. That's all it is. Um, yeah, it's just pure filth in there. Nothing I can do about it, I'm afraid. Scat on Andrew's games. There we go. At least I don't mispronounce it. He's also seen boots. My brain wants to put the second B in there as well. So the other way I was going to read it was going to be boobs cats, which sounds great to me. That sounds my kind of channel. I would happily watch that channel. Heck, I've watched worse. Um, oh god, there's one that keeps showing up in my shorts feed, which, as far as I can make out, is a very large-breasted woman who likes firing very angry firearms, and her way of testing them is how much they make bits jiggle when they fire. That's just what I can get from the little short clip thing that shows. I mean, obviously catering to a certain demographic. Yeah, got a link. oh, oh, Mal, there's plenty of interesting stuff. Um, there are ladies, and I use the word in the loosest term, who do over the shoulder boulder holder tests, and their way of testing how good a certain scent product is by putting it on and then skipping, getting the jump rope out, and yeah, it's like no, we know you're not trying to actually legitimately test said product. You're just using jigglage for views. We get it. We're not complaining, but just be honest with yourself. Maybe do an OnlyFans instead. You might make more money that way. YouTube ain't going to monetize those videos. Let's put it that way. Um, and you've probably got the comments turned off if you've got any sense. Uh, yeah, it does always kind of amaze me, like what the things that if I said or did in a video would get it demonetized or get my channel banned. And then I see channels that are basically softcore pornography. And no, that's perfectly fine. What? Again, not complaining, but surely that should be on a hub somewhere rather than on. You can in my stream anyway, Ricky. I've got it. I've not turned on the language filter. Just technically I can use swears, but if I use stronger swears, then the video will get demonetized. And racism and stuff classes as hate speech, which might get past the bot, but if someone complains about it, then it'll be bot by channel. Start on a close up of my moves and then zoom out. That'll take it. Yes. Yes, YouTube does have an issue with it. If you generally, if you watch more the bigger channels, like the ones that react to memes and things like the Click, is one that I do actually watch because he is funny. Yeah, some of the words and whether they're just being extra careful, and I understand because it's their living, is how they make their money. Um, but yeah, there are a lot of words they won't use. Like they won't even say boobs. Uh, just in case the video gets demonetized or someone has an issue with it. Now, for the amount of people that watch my videos or my streams, I mean, anyone in this stream knows me pretty much, and you know, so I can get away with a bit more perhaps before people start complaining. But yeah, you do have to be careful. There is a very long terms and conditions thing that basically nobody apart from really sad people like me reads. But yeah, you just got to be a bit careful. I mean, so there are. And YouTube isn't as bad on some things as Facebook is. There's if you're in a modeling group on Facebook and you're building a German aeroplane from World War II, let's say, which has a certain tail marking that begins with an S, you have to blur that out of the pictures. Yeah, you might be better off with Twitch, although I think Twitch is going the same way as well. So I'm not racist or homophobic, but that won't be included pronouns. Matters what you call yourself. I know you as. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I did actually have to. I didn't have to, but I had a survey come through from YouTube, and the way my mind works, I'm thinking, well, if you fill in the surveys and you do good, you fill these things in that they ask you to, and they might be more likely to push your channel above, say, someone who didn't. But there was one on inclusivity. I just wanted to know whether people were male, female, him, her, Jim, whatever, straight, gay, bi, trans, all that kind of stuff. So I probably didn't help their diversity much. Straight white male. Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, the way I look at it is I generally try and speak on YouTube. Maybe not so much in my streams, but on videos certainly. I tend to use the same mindset of language that I use when I'm working and dealing with customers, dealing with non-trade related customers. Let's put it that way. If it's a tradesperson who's in twice a day, every day, 6 days a week, then there will be some slightly ruder jokes and maybe some mild insulting going on, but all in a jokey, light-hearted manner. Whereas if it's someone older, say an older woman, then the language gets very clean and very respectful. Sammy, you sexy beast. How are you, gorgeous redneck? Actually, don't fill in these surveys. It's aimed at categories. There's lots. Yeah, just write Geordie. That'll explain everything. No, so I was just because I was actually having a conversation about the LGBT plus and all that stuff at work the other day with someone, because we're actually talking about model trains. And bear with me, um, this might there is a brand of oh dear, let's say Garden Railway or G scale trains, the big toy trains for adults. Um, and they're a German company, and they're called LGB. So if you're Googling, you have to make sure you put the space trains, because otherwise you get a lot of websites you're not expecting or wanting probably. And you've got to make sure you spell trains correctly as well, because otherwise you end up with LGB trans, and then you get another whole load of websites you didn't want. Because I remember when I was working in a model shop and we first got them in, I was like, oh boy, people are going to have to be careful Googling that. And Bob was like, well, why? So I opened up Internet Explorer, went, look, enter. And he went, oh my God. I'm like, yeah. I identify as trains. Choo choo, mother. And yes. And Mal's retracting his message about identifying as Geordie. I identify as me. That's. See, I'm old. I ain't got. No, I mean, if someone, I'll respect someone's decision. If they want to be known as something or not something, then fair enough. I'll try and remember and be nice. But no, it's not the forefront of my mind to worry about what someone's pronouns are. I go by what you look and sound like and how you act. Because if you act like an absolute bell wipe, then I'm going to identify you as a bell wipe. It's, it's that simple. It's a. Oh, it'd be so fun to take some people, millennials, back to the 80s. Uh, Take some school kids now back to a 1980s school and hear what we used to call each other and what the teachers used to call us. And that we didn't get in trouble for either. Oh boy. I identify as a three-headed blue fire-breathing tiger. My pronouns are you're excellently. I wouldn't survive a day. They'd get bullied out of existence very quickly. Not as bad enough just wearing glasses. When there was a kid in our class who was ginger. Trust me, I was glad there was a ginger kid in the class because it meant I got Mickey taken less for being four-eyed. Actually, you weren't here last week, were you, Tommy? You didn't see these new fishies I got. I think you might like these new fishies. Let's see. Can you tell what it is yet? There's a prego female, and there's a male. There is another female in there somewhere. There she is. There's all three in the same shot. Look at that. No, not Persilia. Oh, camera's doing weird stuff again. The easiest way is to just get out. Exactly. We all developed a thick skin because of it. And we're still not in focus. Oh well, never mind. Yeah. No, we developed a thick skin is basically what happened. Is we got used to being abused. It's also my camera's blurry. They're Amicus splendens. So split fin tequila goodaids is the correct, not goodaied. Got to think Australian when you say the name goodaied. Yes, and I got them very cheap as well. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Well, it's who you know, knowing you know what you know is, yeah. So yeah, I paid 15 quid for a trio. So what's that, 20 bucks? Yeah, so yeah, 50% I got as a discount. I mean, obviously on the understanding that once I breed them, I will take the babies back and sell them to them. But you know, I've only got to breed 5 and I've made my money back. So, and they're both pregnant, so yeah, should be okay. Yeah, I went in looking for cherry barbs and came out with live bearers. But you know, yeah. But yeah, I say on the abuse and the bullying. Yeah. Or what people my age would refer to as banter, schoolyard banter. Yeah, pretty sure young uns these days wouldn't be able to cope with the 1980s. Yes, you didn't dare to be different. Every little thing got picked up on. If your parents got divorced, you didn't mention it. Because then you would have been known as divorce boy. Or the 70s. Yeah, I'm guessing the 70s, maybe a little bit rougher. Mind you, in the 70s, you'd have got caned for stuff, so. Oh, you're not that old, Debs. I refuse to accept you were at school in the 70s. Imagine how British comedians like Jim Davidson or Bernard Manning would go down these days. I mean, Jim Davidson basically got cancelled in the 90s for crying out loud. Boys got caned, girls got the slipper. Which doesn't really make sense because, without being rude, girls do tend to have more padding on their derriere than boys do. So, you know. But then boys probably misbehaved a lot more. Worse in school. When I used to get bad grades, governors used to cane me. A few days ago, my nephew got a bad grade and his mum screamed at the teachers that they didn't teach him right. Yeah, that's the way it's going these days. I mean, I say Mary works in a preschool, and fairly regularly she has to explain to parents that no, it's up to you to potty train your child. And you need to have it done before they go to proper school, because schools don't do nappy changing or diaper changing. Later in the 70s, the boys got caned and the girls got detention. Yeah, I never got caned. I mean, I got walloped a few times by teachers. because by then actually abusing children was illegal in school. Mate of mine got smacked around the backside with a hockey stick once, but he deserved it. That was also the thing. We knew if we misbehaved, we did wrong, we were being a douche, and we got punished for it. We understood we deserved it. It's like, yeah, I did bad. Yeah, fair enough. You caught me. That's, yeah, okay. I pushed it that bit too far. Yeah, okay. So while you didn't necessarily enjoy the punishment, whether it was detention or lines or just being screamed at, you just took it. You accepted it because that's what you got for misbehaving. And much as things have moved on and treatment and understanding of things like ADHD has come a long way. Back in my day, that was just considered being naughty, and you had to learn. If there were kids that had what we just call hyperactive, and yeah, they had to learn to basically just sit on their hands and shut their mouth, or they would keep getting in trouble. Asked for the cane instead once and got 2 weeks detention instead of that was for being a masochist, Deb. That weren't for I was called a rascal, not naughty. I was called a rascal on a good day. I got called far ruder things by some of my teachers. Yeah, called him a-hole, the bastard. Usually the first 3 words out of a teacher's mouth to me were, "Sharpe, you," ad insult. "Sharpe, what the hell are you doing?" "What? Me, sir?" "Yes, you." Nobody else would try and electrocute their lab partner. Oh, that's just fun, sir. Did the same at college, but actually got away with it at college. One of my college professors was actually quite impressed with the way I managed to electrocute classmates and use high voltage electricity to weld someone's steel toe caps to their stool while they were asleep. I was seriously expecting to get into trouble for that one. But as the professor put it, he said, "Well, he shouldn't have fallen asleep." "You did my punishment for me." I was like, fair enough. But yeah, don't let me loose with high voltage electricity and a wicked sense of humour. People are going to get electrocuted. So don't let me loose with sharp objects. It's just a bad idea. Good job I didn't go to school go to college to be a gardener, really, isn't it? Oh my God, I'd probably kill people. Kinky bitch, you heard that once. I got caned again. Yeah, but the thing is, Ricky, you understood why you got caned, and you were like, "Yeah, okay, fair enough. Deserved that one." Oh, I forget who it was. It was, and this wasn't a Stephen Fry one. It was another comedian who, of an age where they got caned at school when they misbehaved. And was it at school or was it at home? No, it was at home. And their mother used to spank them with a belt into their teenage years. So yeah, he started pretending to enjoy it. Started making happy moaning noises whenever she started spanking him. Soon stopped. Oh yeah, the wooden rulers. Oh yeah, those things hurt. Yeah, we used to whack each other with those all the time. If a teacher was late to the class, by the time they got there, they got the yardsticks or the meter rulers laying in there. You could guarantee two of us had had a sword fight with them, and at least one of them would be broken. And someone would probably have splinters in their hand, and the other one would probably have a black eye. Yeah, beating left and right turned out awesome. Yeah, this is it. It's not that beating is good, it's not. But it worked. You know, I mean, if the worst punishment I'd have got was being made to sit on a naughty step for half an hour, yeah, I'd have been horrific. I'm not as bad enough as it is. You know, I wasn't necessarily a troublemaker at school, but I got bored easily, and I'd usually, as I said before, get what the teacher was going on about the first time they explained it. So by the third time, I'm really bored and just looking for something to do. Also, rather than explaining to my dad, who would have won a lot bigger, yeah. Yeah. Respect, yes. If you didn't show respect, you got a beating. I wasn't the troublemaker. I was the leader of the troublemakers. So I was more not class clown. I was me, and you know, I get bored easily, and then my mind, especially back then, was just thinking of things to do. Whether that was stabbing my friend in the hand with a pen or flicking an elastic band across the room at the back of someone's head, leaning forward and pinging a girl's bra strap over the sitting in rows. It's like, ping, ah. Half the time the teacher didn't have to turn around. He said, Sharpe. Oh, damn it. Didn't even have to look to know it was me that time. But again, you know, you just got on with life. I mean, half the time, if you got in trouble at school for something, you got home and got another beating. We're not allowed to cane you, but we're going to let your parents know what you've done, and they'll smack you instead. Great. Well, that was kind of one of the upsides of being in foster care. Yeah, teachers kind of understood that if anything got home, that yeah. So I'd get away with a lot more at high school than I ever did in primary or middle school. Basically got away with everything in college. How the heck I passed all that, I don't know. How the heck I didn't get kicked out of college, I no idea. When they had a silly rule of once you were 18, you could sign your own sick slips. So if you weren't in, you just said you were ill and signed it yourself. The problem is they didn't actually check how old we were. And you know, we kind of knew that, well, if we're in first year at college, because it's a 2-year course, it's like, well, yeah, we're not going to get away with it because we've just left school. There's no way we're 18. But second year, yeah, we could well be 18. Oh, they don't check. Go from like a 99% attendance rate to like 43%. I mean, was it a Wednesday? Yeah, on a Wednesday we had a short day, and literally it was literally just the morning, so like 9 till 12, and the last hour was general studies, right, which was just whatever random BS. And there wasn't an exam for it, and it didn't count towards anything. And we're like, well, why the hell are we here then? And the lecturer wasn't exactly exciting or fun or entertaining. So yeah, basically everyone used to bunk or skive off of that. Pretty much we'll just bugger off around to someone else's house and play Mario Kart. Worse, who was being called to the rector's office. Oh god, yes. Especially if it was a Catholic school. I think worst for me was if I got head of house. Because one above head of house was the senior master, then it went to the headmaster. If I got head of house, then I was in trouble. If I got to the senior master, I generally got away with it. If I went to the headmaster, well, she was a soft touch. I just literally said, yeah, I'm having troubles at home at the moment, and that was it. The problem went away. You used to get sent to the senior master if you got caught smoking most of the time, or just boys will be boys kind of stuff, like fighting or locking someone in at a locker, that kind of thing. And yeah, it might have just been that they got so used to me turning up, and it was like, yeah, he's not going to change. And he's not being malicious. It's just. Yeah, I mean, it's weird, but I mean, looking back on it, I actually kind of enjoyed school. It wasn't as horrific as people make out. I'm like, I could have done without the bullying, and it would have been nice to realise that actually some of the girls did think I was cute. Have a bit more confidence. Chill with the headmaster because I've met him every single day I was in office half my school life. Yeah. So, also these days there's a lot more pressure put on school children, kids at school. A lot more pressure put on them that you've got to get these grades because then you've got to go to college and then you've got to go to university. And you end up with kids who don't want to go to college or university. They just want to get out of school and get a job. Because not everyone is academically minded, right? Not everyone knows what they want to do with the rest of their life by the time they're 16. I mean, hell, I'm 48 nearly, and I don't. I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. I just don't plan on growing up. So yeah, they're basically making kids go to college. It's just a complete waste of 2 years of their lives. They'd be far better off getting into the workplace. Mary's kids, Adam did a year at college and absolutely hated it and then got a job. And Nadine basically said, yeah, I'm not doing that. And just went out and got a job. And she's basically working her way up, and she's at a level now where university graduates are below her. And she's working in mental health. Adam is currently working in Tesco's. I'm not knocking that because I've done that job, and it's a lot harder a job than people realise if they've not done it. any job you got to deal with the public, oh boy, yeah. And yeah, he was manager at McDonald's, so can't be doing too bad for someone with just GCSEs and 1 year at college, or no college in the Dean's case. And also, as I've said to both of them, and Mary did as well, it's like the older you get, the less important your GCSEs are, or your school grades. Headmaster was the head of discipline. After a couple of years, you're just getting bored of you being in his office all the time. He's like, I'll just bugger off. Yeah. The thing I've found, I got serious with studying GCSE. Yeah, again, GCSEs. I mean, yeah, I got decent grades, but I hated the thing with having to do all the coursework. So basically, a whole chunk of stuff you did for the whole 2 years counted towards your grade, and I'm like, I just want to do an exam at the end that proves I've actually learnt this stuff, and then bugger off. I don't want to have to every couple of months or something. Oh, this counts towards your GCSE grade. Ugh. I hated that. To me, that was a whole lot more stressful than sitting an exam. Like college, it was just an exam at the end of each year for each subject. And to me, that was simple. I mean, heck, as I said, 46%, I think, attendance in the second year, and I aced all the exams. So that either tells you that I learned everything really quick, or I'm just really good at sitting exams and figuring stuff out on the fly, which I think is probably the latter, to be honest. But yeah, I was never one of those kids sitting outside the exam room with the textbook in my hands, sweating, panicking. B's and C's and GCSEs, yeah, same here. I had 2 A stars and B's in the other. So I didn't do A levels. I did electronics engineering, which those certificates are completely useless these days because nothing is the same as it was. You don't fault find the circuit board and replace the damaged component when you found it. You just replace the board these days because it's cheaper to replace the board than it is to pay someone to find out what's wrong with it. Like so much these days, you don't fix it, you just throw it in the bin and get a new one. But then things aren't made to be fixed these days. That's part of the issue. Because the companies realise that if they put say a 1 year guarantee on something, but it breaks after 18 months, you buy a new one. They make more money because they're selling more products. They don't have to have such a big service department repairing 20-year-old drills or 15-year-old kettles. That also put a bunch of people out of work because, so when I was at college, I worked in an electrical shop part-time, Saturday boy as it were, or during the holidays. And most of what I spent my time doing while there was changing flexes on lamps or unblocking vacuum cleaners, fixing stuff, replacing the element in a kettle because the element burnt out. Yeah, exactly. It's just more waste. That's why we've got more waste, is we throw things away. I've got shorts that I wear for work, bog standard cargo shorts. I've had them donkey's years, and they get a hole in them. I sew it up. The button comes off. I sew on a new button. To my younger colleagues, that's like an outlandish concept. Why didn't you just get a new pair? I'm like, because a new pair is going to cost me 15, 20, 30 quid, whatever, or I could just spend 20 minutes, half an hour repairing the old ones again. They are getting to the point where they're virtually unrepairable now, but they've lasted a lot longer because of it. If the sole wore out on your shoe, you would go to the cobbler and he would put new soles on your shoes for you. Yes, they were made to last. They were made to be repairable. As these days, I reckon we're not too far off of cars being made to not be repairable. Can't do that with rubber shoes. You used to. You used to be able to. Yeah, they would. You'd wear through the rubber part of the sole, and we'd wear it out, and they would be able to take the rubber off and just put a new rubber bit on the foam. Bit of Evo stick, basically. They used. Doc Martens were famous that if the soles started coming off of those, you could heat up a screwdriver on the hob, or the oven, just heat up the tip of the screwdriver and use that to melt them back together. Everything was repairable. Okay, most power tools now are brushless, but the ones that are brushed, you can't replace the brushes on them anymore. Crocs. Loafers, you can replace the soles on. Crocs. Again, Crocs, back when I'm talking about, they were called sandals, and they had leather soles on them, and they were made of leather or maybe fabric. If you got the really, the jelly bean sandals, which are the rubber ones, they, your feet outgrew them before they fell apart anyway, and you only wore them on the beach. Everything was repairable. Clothes, electrical appliances. There were repair shops in every town for various different things. There'd be the shop that sold the big white goods like cookers and washing machines and all that. And if your cooker or your washing machine broke down, they would either come and get it and fix it for you and bring it back, or you could get the spare part and replace it yourself if you were comfortable doing it. Imagine that. A ring burns out on your hob, your stove, and you just lift the top off, undo a couple of screws, pull off a couple of spay connectors, put the new one in, do the screws up, put the spay connector back on, and you've got a new one. These days you have to, because they're all fitted as well, you have to make sure you find a replacement that's exactly the same size as the old one and replace the whole thing. I don't see where the advancement is there, I'm afraid. Well, they might be more efficient, but heck, my oven, and Debs will know where this is a Belling Classic. Right? That oven is probably as old as I am, and it still works perfectly well. Okay, it's not hyper efficient. It takes a lot longer to heat up than a modern one would. But still, to this day, if a ring burns out, if the grill burns out, if the door latch goes wrong, I can just buy a replacement part and fit it myself. Yeah, the older CRT TVs. Yeah, that's what I trained for at college, was repairing stuff like TVs. You'd take the back off of it. You'd very carefully discharge the capacitors that are in there before you got a massive belt off of those. Then you'd fault find it. You'd figure out which part had gone wrong. Usually pretty obvious. It's usually a resistor's gone bang or a capacitor's gone bang. And there's a scorch mark, which makes it pretty easy to find what went wrong. You just replace that part and the thing's good as new. Unless it was an electrolytic capacitor, and then you just replace the whole lot of them, because once one goes, the rest are going to go fairly shortly. But yeah, the new ones, it's all surface mounted and a nightmare to repair. So yeah, you just get a new one. Okay, it makes the companies that manufacture them more money and more profit. That's A, really bad for the environment, and B, really bad for the customer's pocket. Because if you got to buy a new TV every 3-4 years because it's gone slightly wrong or whatever, then yeah, that's a lot more expensive than just having it repaired every 5 or 6 years, which is how it used to be. Aquarium stuff is kind of rare like that. The fact that you can buy a spare impeller for a pump or spare diaphragms for an air pump or whatever. Yep, used to have static when they're switched off. Yes. And then they found the way around that was a degaussing circuit. And then people found out the hard way not to leave magnetic things on top of the TV, because the first time someone turned it off, it would demagnetize whatever was near it. Cue lots of blank tapes and wiped credit cards. But yeah, that's when TVs were big enough that you could use the top of it as a shelf. Yeah, so they were horrendously inefficient, and the picture quality was awful compared to what we got now. But they weighed half a ton, but they were repairable. These days, about the only thing you can change is the fuse. Half the time, the lead, you've got to pull the whole thing apart so you can get the power lead out if you want to replace that. Back then, if you opened it up and replaced the power lead yourself because a rabbit chewed through it or whatever, it didn't void the warranty. There wasn't some silly seal on there. It was kind of understood that if something like that happens, you can replace it yourself. Right? It's not a problem. But now, yeah, you're not allowed to even take the back off something just to see if it's something simple like a fuse has gone pop or a cable's come disconnected. Oh, no, that's dangerous. Anyway, that's enough of a rant and a grumble, I reckon. My 2 hours are up-ish. So thank you to everyone for tuning in for Sharpe rants about how much better things were. Things were worse, but also better. Depends on what you're looking at. But yeah, have a good week, everyone. Yeah, stickers on screws now saying yeah. So yeah, have a good week. Stay safe. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Arr. Bam.